Hello, my name is Justin Larshite, and this is Week 10 discussion. Um, any of the information from the weekly readings? The diversity validity dilemma article, the 16 selection strategies that minimize racial, ethnic, and sex subgroup differences and adverse impact was interesting and informative. It really made me think back to my personnel psychology class and learning about the different activities organizations can take to ensure validity and reliability in their processes within the employee life cycle. For example, recruitment, selection, training, to therefore reduce adverse impact and other unethical behaviors. Um, that's just really, really important. That's where a lot of companies get caught up in litigation and things like that, because they don't ensure that validity and reliability within their processes and their hiring techniques and things like that. How to measure the inclusion in the workplace was really interesting. Learning about the challenges and effectiveness of the metrics tracking diversity, equity, and inclusion. The two things they talked about was using pulse surveys, the Gardner Inclusion Index to measure diversity, equity, and inclusion. That was really cool. I really liked that. That was something I hadn't ever heard about yet. Um, what it really takes to stop sexual harassment. That article was really informative. They talked about the need for more effective training, and the need for a culture that has zero tolerance for it. That's what I'm learning about right now in my other classes, where it starts from the top, and that you really have to have a good leadership core that sets an example and the tone or the culture of zero tolerance of behaviors that can impact a subgroup or negatively impact their own employees or whatever. Just they need to be ethical and moral in their behaviors, and that will trickle down to their employees, and then it'll all come full circle around of having an organization that acts and respects or acts in the right way and respects everyone in their organization and includes everyone in their organization. Um, the video interview with Obama on workplace challenges, that was informative, offering more flexibility for subgroups by their organizations. That really makes a lot of sense. It's talking about inclusion and involving everyone regardless of their culture or ethnic background or um, sex, things like that. When you include everyone in an organization, you have different perspectives coming from different backgrounds, which makes you stronger and can lead to better performance. However, you have to have a culture that allows for an environment to let that happen. If you have a culture that creates an environment that doesn't respect everyone and um, engages everyone to participate, then that won't work. So you just have to be very aware of that. So that was all really interesting on the readings. The last one: what are some legal issues that you have come across in your workplace environment? For me, it's more about safety. Inclusion. I utilize inclusion, um, the leadership inclusive approach all the time with asking for participation and involvement from all my employees and trying to empower them to think constructively and to always try to think outside of the box and have the belief and self-efficacy to know that they have the power to do that they can think for themselves and they have good input to bring to the table. So that's really important. So like I said, it's more about safety with some of the legal issues with my with my jobs. I've had clients who asked for a job and they wanted it to be done by a certain time, and they didn't want to wait for me to go get a different ladder, which I wouldn't have charged them for either, but that was a safety concern for myself. And instead of me standing my ground, I was trying to appease the client, and which was wrong, and I used an unsafe ladder for a job, which everything turned out okay, thankfully, but that there's no need to push that for any reason just to appease the client. And that's the same situation with talking about inclusion in the workplace, and doing things that will reduce adverse impact. You know, you can't push things to try to appease certain situations or people or anything like that. You have to always do the right thing, period. Yeah, that's it. So I hope you enjoy. Thank you.